It says we've been live for 30 seconds, so maybe they did catch that. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm on the YouTube site. Not seeing anything.
Well, we'll see if the video gets zucked.
Oh, there we go.
Hello to all you Patriots out there in podcast land, and welcome to episode 222 of Canadian Patriot Podcast, the #1 live podcast in Canada. We're recording on April 13th, 2020.
My name is Ian. I'm a hobby farmer and current full-time prepper on Vancouver Island.
My name is Dave. I'm a competitive shooter, master director, instructor, and outdoorsman.
I'm Gavin, and tomorrow I self-identify as an essential and go back to work.
Welcome to the club, bruh.
All right, I'm Marty, hunter and sports shooter in rural southern Ontario.
I'm Benny. I'm an Orthodox Jew and shooter.
Muzzle
Those are
top.
different things, right?
Yes.
Just
That's why the
checking.
and.
Okay, I missed that.
Uh,
As always, my name is Andrew. I'm a recovering libertarian, a competitive shooter, and a firearms instructor at Ragnarok Tactical.
We'd love to hear your feedback about the show. Please visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com/feedback or email us at feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. A version of the show is available on Stitcher and iTunes at www.stitcher.com.
Don't read those
We
That's
can't
not
go
for
on
you
that.
to read.
Yeah. And iTunes. And I'm sure you know how to get to iTunes. Canadian Patriot Podcast. Marty, take it away.
All right. As always, you can check the podcast out on http://
Oh my goodness.
Facebook
That sounds like me when I first started.
or the Instagrams.
All right, we need your help.
Say it right.
Okay, we need your help?
Not you, Marty. Just glossed over the Instagram page.
Another seamless intro for the whole show, right?
One
We
of
need
At
your
least
help.
I didn't screw it up. I screwed up 120, 120. I got 3 or 4 right.
yeah, whatevs.
Yeah. Well, we need your help. To support the show, visit patreon.com/CPP and become a Patreon. You can get a better quality version of the show for just $1 per episode. The more you pledge, the better the rewards are. Show you're not a communist, buy a CPP t-shirt for just $19.99 plus shipping and theft. Visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com homepage and follow the link on the right.
All right, it's time for my favorite segment, and that's called What Are We Drinking? And in What Are We Drinking, I ask everyone what they're drinking. Play along at home, it's fun. Gavin, what are you drinking?
I am drinking Four Roses bourbon with orange vanilla Coke Zero this evening because I am fancy.
Ooh, Four Roses. Good stuff.
That does sound fancy. I would like to try that.
It is not terrible, let me tell you. 10 out of 10 would drink again.
Good stuff. Ian, are you on Daddy Uber duty?
Well, unfortunately, my daughter has been deemed essential. So in order to go retrieve her from work, yes, I'm drinking coffee, black.
Well, as God intended, at least.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dave, what are you drinking?
Just keeping things light with some Mick Ultra, as per usual. Just trying to stay on that diet train. I'm going to do something right in this, what's it called? This quarantine. It's going to be losing some weight at least.
Oh, Rygem05 on the YouTube is drinking White Claw. And
Ooh.
we know there is no law when you're drinking the claw. So he doesn't have to stay home or socially distance or any of that stuff. He can basically do whatever.
Oh,
It says so
that's
on the
what-
can.
Yeah.
Better Marty, what are you drinking?
You're muted.
He's
His note says that he is going to go get a drink because he wasn't expecting his internet to be working.
The pigeons are working well today.
Yeah.
I'm surprised by that. I know Marty is on vacation, so I'm expecting he's actually 4 beers and 3 trees deep.
Yeah.
Chopping firewood this week. Benny, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking some water or wine. We'll see if I can change it.
Not all partied
Hey,
out.
that's mine.
Partied out
That's
after
not yours.
Passover.
That's our trick. You get.
I don't think that's an Easter thing, but
one of us
okay.
did that. Okay, Jesus was Jewish. Okay,
It's true, he was.
I heard he was a carpenter.
That
he was.
too. A Jewish carpenter.
We can be handy at times. It's rare, but we can do it.
Oy vey.
Yeah.
All right. And
It didn't work out for him all that well, so that's why not too many people have taken up the vocation since then.
That's because he lived in a place where the government banned personal ownership of arms.
Yeah.
Romans.
Well,
Yeah.
freaking Romans, I tell you.
And now look what they're doing. You know, all stuck with COVID-19. They're one of the hardest hit, right? Italians.
I
Yeah.
think you call that comeuppance.
Yeah, it's taken a little while, but
Yeah,
finally, yeah, karma finally got them.
Right. And Muskoka Mayhem on the internet is saying that he's drinking Carling Lager because he's cheap. And I want you to reframe that in the same way that one of our government officials would. It's not that you're cheap, it's that you're fiscally responsible, stretching those middle-class tax dollars.
Yeah, very frugal.
Right? Let's do some government stuff that's not so frugal. I've got 3 related stories. One of them was updated since I originally grabbed the story. We'll start with that one. I'll read the 3 off. They're all in the same vein. Ottawa citizen, updated. No ticket issued for Orleans man playing in soccer park with autistic son. National Post. During the COVID-19 pandemic, a quick happy birthday tune can turn into a 1,546 Quebec dollar fine. Editorializing slightly. Global news, coronavirus. Oakville, Ontario family hit with $880 ticket after going rollerblading. So what did we learn from this? The government is still stupid during a pandemic.
And don't hand over your ID.
Well, you have
That's
to now.
easier.
So, under the orders now with the state of emergency in Ontario, you are obligated to hand over your ID to anyone that is a cop, a bylaw officer, what was it, a tribal council officer, and all of they had an acronym
A special
for it.
constable.
Yeah.
Anyone who
those.
was...
But you got rollerblades.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, don't go rollerblading outside in the parking lot of the closed community center in Oakville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there was
'Cause-
actually in Brampton, there was 2 groups of people that got tickets over the weekend for playing cricket.
Well, that sounds dumb.
Yeah.
It may be.
I mean-
but there's less in like you touch the same ball, but you like there's no tagging involved as far as I remember. So
I mean,
it's a little
I
better
think-
than baseball.
Part of the thing I think with cricket is like, in order to get a team, that's probably not one family. Like,
Yeah, they had. I think it was like 13 people.
yeah,
it's
so I
definitely
mean, like
over the
that
5.
seems like maybe you shouldn't be mixing and matching your family members to form a cricket team. But
Well, it
like,
depends. I mean, like they may not have been like I played baseball as a kid with like a few people. You know, if you're just like going out, like you didn't necessarily have to field 2 full teams.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
this
I
was,
think that's
it was like
where
13
the-
people. So yeah, definitely over the 5. But yeah, probably not a good idea right now to do
well, that's the
anything
thing is like
gonna.
there's a line between what's a good idea and there's a line between like what the government says you can do, and I generally don't believe that what the government says I can do is what I can actually do. Those are not. They
Yeah.
don't line up.
Yeah, I know. My
Like-
another friend was in the trying to just go for a bike ride, but even going through the park, the cops are waiting down at the valley to try and catch people. But when it's too late, as they're like going down the hill, and then people are like ducking into the forest. This is in Toronto. But,
Yep.
Oh well, that's an
The
easy
forest?
solve. Just don't be in Toronto.
yeah, yeah.
They can't. It's this way. Just me.
I don't know. There's some stuff around this kind of weird. Like I don't see the whole like you're gonna give a family that's out rollerblading in a closed parking lot an $880 fine.
Yeah, just tell them to go
Yeah.
home.
Or
Yeah.
just tell them to go to Walmart. They could rollerblade
Yeah.
there and stick together, and seems to be fine there, right?
Yeah. No.
Right,
No,
that's what,
no
like, they're
coronas
not
there.
hurting anybody. They're not involving themselves with other people. They're in a parking lot for an empty building.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not condoning like
Well-
fuck the police, like I said, but at the same time, I feel like these bylaws officers need to show a little constraint.
Well, and
Whatever.
that's the case of what happened with the Ottawa incident with the fella in Orleans. He was playing in a field near a park,
Mhm.
but like not in the park that was actually marked as closed. But he was playing in a field that was nearby. The story says something like 500 meters away from the play structures, and like they're kicking a ball around a field.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't really
get off them.
Yeah.
People have traded
What's
liberty
the-
for safety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would rather have uncomfortable liberty. Thank you kindly.
Yeah. So all of the uncomfortableness. Yeah.
That's the problem here,
This
right?
is ultimately what's happened. People have traded liberty for safety, and now they're getting an
Neither.
overabundance of police. Yeah.
No, I mean, absolutely. Like, I mean, we've said it. I mean, from the get-go, like, this is, like, it's dumb to be out in groups. That doesn't mean that they should be ticketed for it. Like, use some common sense. You know, Andrew came by to pick up some stuff the other day, and we appropriately social distance. It was nice
That's
to
right.
see him in person.
I like to think of it as staying out of melee range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 sword
Like
lengths away.
Gavin can't shiv me, so I'm far enough away.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It was the mandatory 2 sword lengths away, like in Parliament.
You'd have to
Well,
take more than
some,
one step.
Some
in order
men
to get
have
within-
bigger swords than others, though.
It's true. Those Scottish claymores are massive.
But yeah, I mean, I think it boils down to don't be stupid because, well, so far being stupid isn't a crime. I guess if it was, our prime minister would be in for life. But anyway,
We could hope. The one thing that I find disturbing about this, I mean, Marty kind of touched on it a second ago with the police giving out tickets for this, like we're trading liberty for safety. It's not really that you're trading it for safety, and you have to remember that most municipal police services have said that they're not coming unless there's like a violent crime taking place. Oh, you've got a property crime or fraud or theft or some other misdemeanor? Yeah, don't call us because we're not sending anybody. But they'll go stand at the bottom of hills and parks to catch people riding bicycles.
Yeah.
So the instance
would
of
almost-
the guys playing the cricket in Brampton. So it was bylaw officers that originally were on the scene and called it in. But man, there's video of it, and the cops. So it's Peel Regional Police. Man, they have 2 cars like burning rubber in there to give everyone a ticket.
maybe they're trying to make up for the revenue they're about to give away for free to people staying at home.
Yeah.
Revenue generation.
Oh, 100%. But that's what it is.
I'd
They gotta
say
justify their job.
I would guess that a lot of these cases are other civilians turning these people in too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not saying I would do that because I think that going to your local commissar and turning in your neighbor is not what good Soviets should be doing. But man, there's a couple of people in my neighborhood that go out at 7:30 and bang their fucking pots at the end of the driveway. Somebody point me to my local political commissar.
Why are they banging their pots at the bottom? Of the
I don't know, to show solidarity with healthcare workers or some bullshit. But I mean, if a cougar were to run by and eat them, I wouldn't feel very heartbroken about it.
Yeah.
I've heard of that like in New York. I didn't know that they were doing that in like local small towns in Ontario.
Beating your pots and pans?
Well, one
They
of
go
them's-
out, like applaud, just make noise. It's like at like shift change. I thought it was at like 7 p.m. or something like that. Like they would do it like at like shift change while they're like driving to and from.
No, some boomer on the street that was culturally appropriating a reproduction Native Canadian drum was yelling at us how it happens every night at 7:30, and I'm like, I know.
So
Apparently, they could see I was unhappy with their demonstration again this evening.
all I'm going to say, though, is if you time it right and you have your 22, the problem could be taken care of, and no one would be the wiser.
No, I think I'm just going to start going and driving my truck up and down the street in first gear and listen to Pantera at 7:30 in the morning.
I can come with my motorcycle
In
on Friday.
solidarity.
In solidarity.
Yeah, Pantera
At
in
7:30,
solidarity.
we listen to Pantera.
Yeah, walk. I wanted to walk.
I feel like I would be getting a bylaw infraction. I'm willing to eat that. It's like worth it.
We have a Patreon. We could solve that problem.
Remember, I need like you and 50 of your friends to become Patreons so I can pay the bylaw man.
We'll film it though. Have to film it.
Well, and I guess this is
Yeah.
another, I'm not saying that you should do things that would be like in violation of any laws, bylaws, or states of emergency, but I definitely don't carry my identification with me when I go for a walk. And to quote Benjamin Franklin, tax this dick.
Come at me, bro.
Well, like, what are they gonna? I literally don't have ID on me. I don't have my wallet. I don't carry any of that stuff, and I don't have keys for a house because I have an electronic lock. So,
Name
No,
John
I
Doe.
will not tell you where I live.
yeah, I live over there in the woods.
Aren't you required to carry ID now, though? Or is that...
I don't care. I don't. What are they gonna do? Okay, so they're gonna find me for not having ID. Great. My
Who
name
are
is
you?
Billy Bob Thornton. Good luck with this.
yeah. Exactly.
Like,
Where do you live?
Justin
123
Trudeau.
Bake Street.
well, like, what are they gonna do? Like, I legitimately do not carry my wallet when I go for a walk, and I don't have house keys because it's the current year.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I also live in a place where the 3 police officers are busy being police officers and not like trying to tax this dick. So
Yeah, but do you have bylaw officers trying to tax that dick?
I haven't seen one yet.
Yeah.
I'm sure
usually
they
only
exist.
come out. Usually they only come out when called. At least that's the way it was when I was living at my parents' house. I would park my truck on the street from time to time because the driveway was full, and it was fine, and then all of a sudden it would just be like one after the other, and it's because, as we found out later, someone was calling who lived like on the other side of the street. It's the way it always goes, but it's because someone usually complains. Is why
Well,
if they never came around before and now all of a sudden you're getting a ticket, it's because someone complained.
Somebody complained.
Pretty much.
And
Yeah.
our bylaw infraction is not done by our municipality. Our bylaw infraction is done by a much larger city, several municipalities away, not actually even in our county.
So they definitely don't give a shit.
Normally, they only do tickets downtown Monday to Friday
Yeah.
on like the one-way streets by the shopping area.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from
By the
what I
parking
know from
meters and
people
stuff.
that do this is like there's areas where they know there are going to be people that are continually violating the bylaw.
Yeah.
So
the
they,
money-making zone.
they hang out in those areas and then only go to other places when they get a call.
On a total aside, I just had a great name for a strip club. You could call it the profit margin, because that's where you'd go to make all the money. People would hang out there.
Yeah. Especially like that, downtown business crowd.
And
Well,
we call her-
because like somebody in the YouTube comments was saying that walk is for strippers, so it like made me think of that. I don't know why I put those together. You're
and
welcome.
then our range would be called the tax shelter.
Our ranger would be called the tax shelter, though.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be our hotel or our Airbnb? Or we don't do Airbnb.
We don't do Airbnb.
No, that's just trouble. That's
No.
trouble in an app.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no surprise. People are getting tickets for going
Stupid
out.
shit.
and- well, some of it's stupid shit, and some of it's
But-
like the
yeah, some of it's
discretion of the
legit.
enforcement is dumb.
Yeah.
And some of it's like people are making dumb choices, but hey, like, let's close all the provincial parks and everybody can go stand in line at Walmart for their 24-pack of toilet paper.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, camping
Everyone's
in
gonna
Ontario
fight
is
these
officially
tickets, right?
prohibited. I
What'd you
hope
say?
so.
Sorry,
People
Marty?
are not going to actually pay these, are they?
I don't know. I would fight him.
I don't know. I would fight it. I think it'd be fun to fight it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not going to cost us anything to fight it. You show up. It's a bylaw thing. Like, you don't need an actual lawyer.
Plus, who knows when it's actually going to get looked at, and then it'll probably take too long, and then it'll just get thrown out.
That's true. I think most municipalities have a 14 or a 15-day window on their bylaw on like the enforcement action.
And
Exactly.
I'm assuming that the bylaw courts are non-essential services.
Well, that's what I mean. All the courts are shut down,
Government
right?
getting its money not essential?
Yeah.
Benny makes a good point.
Yeah.
We don't think it's essential. They probably do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've been making that argument for years. Like literally
Yeah.
like 220 episodes that I've been making that argument.
Yeah.
The,
I mean,
it'd be 222, but I missed a couple.
yeah. They got to, render unto Caesar and all that. Right.
Also a great song for me to play in my truck when I'm driving through the neighborhood tomorrow morning.
All hail Caesar.
All hail Caesar.
Nice. All right.
Everybody can come out, give me a Roman salute or a one-finger salute, whatever their preference is.
You could also scare them a little. You could play like the Four Horsemen from Metallica or something.
Don't tread on me if we're doing Metallica.
Yeah. That was kind of my jam back when this whole C-71 and all the other nonsense was going on. Before this current nonsense, the previous nonsense.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I feel about having to differentiate which brand of nonsense we're discussing.
The C16 nonsense.
Pretty much all of it.
That
All of
RCMP?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's still my jam and has been for a long time and will continue to be because, don't tread on me. But
Yeah, but Lars Ulrich is still a douchebag.
Yeah. Fuck Lars.
yeah. But, like, what do you expect from a Dane?
I really have no rebuttal to that. You make a valid point.
Should we move on to the next one?
Yeah, let's move along. Spending more time in our nation's capital. This is on Ottawa Matters, which is some sort of local publication. Ottawa police see 70% increase in break-and-enters over the past month.
No.
But
Well-
remember, the police are not coming, so good luck.
Yeah, when the police advertise that they're not going to, prosecute, petty crimes, what did they expect? Like,
And they're letting more of them out by the day.
Yeah,
we're-
I was going to say.
if we arrest you, we're going to let you out. And in the meantime, we're not even going to investigate or show up if some petty crime's happening. But behave, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't do nothing the Gord Lord wouldn't do.
Yeah.
I'm actually a little bit surprised by it, just because you can assume that everyone's at home.
Yeah, that's the
I-
part that surprised me too. Like
Wait.
that-
They won't listen to the Criminal Act. They won't listen to the Firearms Act. But you think they're going to listen to a stay-at-home order because of COVID-19, Marty?
No, but it's
like,
not
what I'm
that.
saying is that there's a large percentage of people that are at home now because
So
they're
whose
not
houses are they
essential.
hitting? I think
Dear the
it's
criminals,
more, I think it's
please
more
stop
businesses.
leaving your house.
That was not the way I was going, Benny.
No,
It was who are like.
Yeah.
It's like
No,
the
Marty,
victim
Marty, I
home.
believe
You're assuming that they're home.
I believe it's more businesses that are not being tended to.
Yeah, I'm with
Yeah,
Dave.
yeah,
I
that
foresee
makes
a lot
sense.
of foresee a lot of shops being broken into and tools being stolen and that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
Smashing and grabbing and so forth.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
I
Yeah,
imagine.
they're going
I
after
imagine the
houses.
Korean,
That's dumb.
I imagine the Korean convenience store is still not been touched.
Rooftop Korea is by definition best Korea.
Well, like when they've got like a dusty K1 hanging on the wall in the back that no one knows about.
But honestly, yeah, I think it's a lot of these, like a lot of restaurants or whatever that aren't essential. I'm sure these people are thinking they can score some cheap or quick booze and flash and grab, right?
I mean,
Yeah, well, that's the
if
other thing. I mean, I have a friend. Sorry, I have a friend that does a lot of like the prisoner transfer, and he's like, right now all the drug addicts are getting desperate. Like the drug flow across the border is slowing down. They're all getting that itch, and so they're starting to do more and more desperate things when it comes to places that they break into to try and get a fix.
Yeah, I was just going to make that comment of not only are right now we're talking about like the sort of the active criminal element seizing like opportunity, but then you also do have a lot of people that are not working, that likely we're depending on their weekly checks to keep their family going, keep their lives going, and so you have a lot of people that maybe have not been criminal elements in our society, but are now desperate.
Getting desperate. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
wait
I mean
till the
they
toilet paper runs out. This isn't even desperate times yet.
yeah.
Yeah, the grocery
No,
stores are
but
still,
seriously though, like imagine Venezuela last year.
yeah, when people are eating their cats because there's
Oh, you
nothing else.
mean when they started driving tanks over people?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
When they ran out of zoo animals to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although,
It's-
I mean, I imagine that some of them are pretty tasty.
Man, there are definitely some exotic animals that I would enjoy being turned into like a fine steak or a nice hamburger.
Yeah.
I would really like to try giraffe.
Yeah. I would try
Feed
that.
a whole village.
Yeah.
It tastes something like somewhere between a whooping crane and a white rhino. It's
That sounds like where you find it in the exhibits.
They are kosher. It's just finding one that you could properly slaughter is the issue, really.
Yeah, imagine like doing the whole splitting the throat
Well,
thing. is
they
really
got
hard
they got
when they're
drafts
really
at
tall.
Toronto Zoo. They got drafts at Toronto Zoo, don't they?
You need a really big ladder.
Yeah.
I want to thank the Albertan on YouTube for chiming in. Soundtrack to the Apocalypse suggestion is For Whom the Bell Tolls, so I guess we're
Yes.
sticking with the Metallica theme. Also,
Thank you, Alberta.
I mean,
100%.
valid choice.
I mean, if all of a sudden like people are in the Ottawa area, and then all of a sudden the helicopter swoops in with that playing, it's not the people on this podcast.
That's right. We would play fine classical music in the tradition of Wagner as is intended.
Yeah,
in true apocalypse fashion.
yeah, and we would have our surfboards.
Charlie, don't surf.
Yeah, you can either fight or surf.
Yeah.
What kind of a riptide or waves do you get on the Ottawa River? Just out of curiosity.
If you can get a boat to follow, you can probably get some pretty good ones.
Yeah, I mean, there's that standing wave that's right next to the Habitat building in Montreal that you can surf on.
And
But
if
that
the
would
flooding,
mean we'd
But
have-
but all right.
Yeah,
you get the flooding, anything like last year, you can go by the bridges. I'm sure there'll be some pretty serious wake.
yeah.
Besides,
Yeah,
I'm sure Trudeau's probably working on spending like more millions of dollars to put a smaller canal right in front of Parliament, in between
Yeah.
Trudeau Canal, like we
Yeah.
did with the hockey rink.
Well, that and like now that like it's warming up, all the water from the hockey rinks is melting. So like we could just release the floodgates on that, and that would create at least one wave down the canal, right?
Well, hey, if you
that's too cheap, Gavin. You got to put in a wave machine, okay, and have that go down the whole lake, and then every couple of kilometers you install another wave machine and a toll booth.
Oh, and you can only have it open for 5 weeks then, right?
Yeah, and you got to pay. You got to buy tickets to stand in
Yeah.
line. Yeah.
Sounds like some
Sounds about right,
bullshit.
Well, I do have good news. I can't tell you about the Ottawa, the new tide pool in Ottawa, but I do have good news. In the Vancouver Sun, COVID-19, City of Vancouver at risk of bankruptcy, says Mayor. A municipal government might collapse, guys. I'm so excited right now.
I want to know how much they would sell it to us for.
I want to know what we need to do to get this happen to Toronto.
As I said this morning, $5. What you're getting. Take it or leave it.
Well, see, here's the funny thing. So we can all agree that Vancouver has some of the highest priced property in the country.
For no good
So-
reason.
For no good reason, that's fine. But therefore, they have... Go ahead.
I was going to say, there's a reason. I don't agree that it's worth what they're charging, but there's a reason.
So we can all probably agree that they have a pretty high tax base when it comes to property taxes and everything else, and they can't make a go of it. And yet they felt the obligation to make like rainbow sidewalks and all this other like flu stuff. And like, how can they not make ends meet? They obviously don't have a revenue problem; they have a spending problem.
You know what they should do? Stop buying those $5 lattes at Starbucks.
They
Yeah.
could do that too.
Yeah, but the problem
Or
is
they should just sell us the city, and we can kick everybody out.
we'll make Vancouver
And then-
great again.
And then Ragnarok Tactical will have its own city for training it.
Oh, we could totally
We'd
get
have like
government-
I
training
don't want to
block,
live in
riding
Vancouver, guys. I really don't.
Even if they called it Asgard
Andrew,
or
It
something.
doesn't
Andrew,
snow there.
You own a city. You could fly there.
Yeah, but
like, what are you
but
talking
you don't
about living there?
You don't want to live in Vancouver because it's the Vancouver that it is now. Imagine if we owned it and kicked all the degens out, and it was just our city, and you
Yeah,
could do like
The weather is so good there. Think
Yeah,
of the possibilities.
Well, as
could-
Rod will
you
tell
could
you.
do
all
Like
year
Rod
round.
Baltaka, you're trying to sell me on the merits of southern British Columbia.
What?
you
Oh,
could
Okay,
you could Aussie
the-
repel off of all the buildings. You could practice your high angle shooting from the tops of them.
distance shooting and out into the ocean.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So-
the Albertan brings up a good point about the supervised injection sites. I mean, on top of the rainbow sidewalks. I mean, they may have wasted money here and there, and providing free needles and drugs right now is what they're pushing for. And yeah, there's probably some revenue capture to be had there.
so we're talking about the city's projected losses here, but the city's projected losses are a result of their estimates of over $500 million worth of lost revenue due to people defaulting on their taxes because they're defaulting on their mortgages. So
Correct.
why is this article about like, hey, the city might go bankrupt and not talking about the number of people that are losing their homes that would result in $500 million worth of lost property taxes.
Because nobody cares.
Is that like a few houses that costs a lot, or is that
No.
actually a lot of people?
They're not talking about that because it doesn't affect that part doesn't affect politicians. When they start talking about the city going bankrupt, these politicians can lose their jobs, and that's huge. Because when a bunch of the tax slaves lose their job, it's a recession. When the politicians lose their job, it's a depression. It's like totally different in their eyes.
That is a lot of homes and a lot of people they are projecting are not going to be able to pay their mortgages and their taxes.
I'm not kidding.
That's-
Marty. That's only like maybe 750 homes tops.
750 what?
Homes, like because most homes are like the average house price in the city of Vancouver.
No. $500 million in 1 year's worth of tax revenues. I mean, of property tax revenues.
Okay, so some
Property
people
tax
pay-
is not $1 million a year.
No. Okay, sorry. I thought you meant property value. So, but some people are paying over $1,000 a month in property tax.
Yeah.
Well,
So
those
that's-
people sound like they're dumb.
Well, yeah, that's
Well,
why.
that's what happens when you have inflated numbers.
That's why I
Now
don't live in
biting them in the
Vancouver.
ass.
Yeah.
I pay a tenth of that. I mean, but it's anyway. Yeah. So I mean, okay, let's work out the numbers. That's 50,000 houses in 1 year, right? That's huge.
Like that's assuming roughly $12,000 a year in property tax.
Yep. Because it's not unusual for a lot of these people to have their mortgage payment and their property tax payment be roughly the same because when they bought their house and what it's worth now, and it's crazy.
And then where do all
I
these
think-
people do and go? If this
Well, I
happens?
think this speaks to part of our other problem is that everyone is just over leveraged, particularly in Vancouver. These people are buying houses that they shouldn't have been able to afford.
I just can't believe that like you'll see a newspaper article like this but without mentioning the fact that as we just quickly did the math, that's 50,000 homes, 50,000 families.
Yeah, families.
Not necessarily, Marty. How many? And just playing devil's advocate, how many of these are landlords who have purchased multiple properties who are renting it out?
Or basement suites. Lots of people
Yeah.
in basement suites. It might even be double that, like maybe 100,000 families, because if the one guy loses his house, the renter in the basement has to leave too.
Right.
That's
I think-
you two are both going in different directions there.
Yeah.
Right. But like I know in Toronto anyways, a lot of the people are renting because they can't afford to buy in this market. So question is
But
how many
renters
of those-
aren't paying property tax, are they?
No, but
No,
their
but the
landlord is.
property owner is.
Yeah.
And the question is how many of those property owners are say have multiple properties that they're like, oh, as a side job I'll have multiple properties and then I'll have this income. But the ripple effect and everything.
Yeah.
Well, and,
it could
and,
be a lot more families impacted.
and the Alberta also brings up another good point too, is that a third of the condos in Vancouver right now are sitting empty because they're foreign owned and nobody lives in them. So some people that are living overseas just might stop paying, and there'll be lost revenue, but it won't really displace people either. So there's a bunch of factors in there. Like Vancouver's a bit of a strange city that way. So, well, in many ways, but
Vancouver is a strange city. We
Yeah.
can agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It's hard to say
does
the way
not
this
seem good, but I mean,
I still
A
think that Marty's
major-
point is a valid point, though. Where it's not just the missed revenue; it's the cause of the revenue that also should be part of the story.
I'm sure as this goes on, it will, because I saw an article in the Huffington Post the other day talking about how the housing
Sorry to
market is
hear that.
cooling. I know, but sometimes I read the Huffington Post to see what
Feel
are the
better about
communists
yourself?
writing about.
Yeah.
know thine enemy type of thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't trust any of the media, but it's nice to have multiple perspectives to draw from, right? Particularly when we do like a news political commentary comedy show.
Yeah. They provide some of the best.
Basically, what I'm saying is I'm Jon Stewart now,
Yeah.
But better.
Yeah.
but better, but funnier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In every facet of the word, better.
But no, I
At least
think
your
we're going
level
to
of
see
content
this-
your quality of content hasn't dipped because of Corona. Like
That's true. If anything, we've gotten better now that the internet's fixed.
Now we're branching
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
No, where I wanted to go with this, because I think you guys have raised some really good points with this, but where I wanted to go with it is that I think we're going to see this in more urban centers. And I think we're going to see other large municipalities, Edmonton, Calgary, Toronto, Montreal, Quebec, so on and so forth. I think we're going to see other large cities being like, city might go bankrupt. We need government bailout from next level of government. We might need provincial
That's
federal
all
money.
Yeah, they're not going to go
Do they
bankrupt.
get the money though?
Yes.
Yeah.
The cities can't run a deficit, so they're just going to have to get money from the federal or provincial government. So Toronto is just going to get bailed out by the government, which gets bailed out by us.
Yeah, but Doug hates
Right, and
Toronto.
But
Yeah,
that's
I
where I
totally
want to
wanna
go with
say
this.
and
Is
be
I
like-
think we're going to see more cities declaring bankruptcy and laying off more staff. Like Vancouver's laid off 1,500 people this month. Like 1,500 municipal employees got laid off this month, or I guess last month, since this whole nonsense started. So, like, if we start applying this across other municipalities that are in the same situation, because, like, I mean, we saw this in Alberta a couple of years ago under the Notley government. The housing market in Edmonton didn't crash, but like it was not doing well.
It cratered pretty bad.
Right? And that's what I mean. So like if we start seeing this in other large urban centers.
I mean, Toronto is just as, I would say, arguably as over-leveraged as Vancouver is. Maybe not quite to the extent, but
I think the
pretty
difference
bad.
is that Toronto doesn't pay taxes the same way as Vancouver does.
The mill rate's different.
okay.
Yeah.
I don't know
It's-
that part.
It's one of the lowest in the developed world, if not the lowest.
Yeah, Toronto's a bit more like, I mean, not that Vancouver isn't a big hub for, business. Toronto is a bigger one, so that helps as well, I think. But yeah, I mean, the cities, much like the banks and Bombardier, apparently are too big to fail. So like the government will basically just bail them all out.
Well,
have to.
modern monetary theory, just print more money, inject more cash into the market, quantitative easing, and your buying power is further reduced. But hey, cities continue to operate and provide basic services, I guess.
My roads.
And money printer go brrrr.
Yeah, the urban centers are the voting machine of the Liberal Party. So there's no way they're going to let them have.
Of course
they're
not.
not going to let them fail
Of
at all.
course not.
They're going to
They
throw
have
money
to
at
keep
them.
them happy. I mean, look at what in the Ontario election. Look what Wynn's entire strategy was. Like
Throw money at Toronto.
Yeah, like and that wasn't even a secret. Like they were like being open about like, yeah, our strategy is double down on Toronto, fuck the rest of the province.
Yeah.
It almost worked.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess on the topic of Wynne and the provincial government, not that this is in the show notes, but I think a lot of people are seeing Premier Ford as an actual leader in a time of crisis. I know a lot of people don't like him or agree with his policies or politics, but I think he's a pretty bland milquetoast kind of politician. Like he doesn't do anything earth-shattering or flamboyant or particularly
Scary.
attention-worthy most of the time. He's pretty level.
Just doing the job.
Yeah, just like he shows up and he does work, and the lefties don't like him because he's not a lefty, but he's not like
Because he won't give them money.
well, but that's the, but in this he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to go and personally deliver masks and do these things, and I'm going to show up to a press conference in jeans and a t-shirt that says, it doesn't say fuck coronavirus, but it says something about corona. He looks like he looks like Fat Steve Austin from WWF.
316. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but that's what I mean. Like, he shows up to these things, and he actually, unlike basically every other politician that's getting media coverage right now, is he actually looks like he's leading the province.
Yeah, and whether it's all a PR stunt or not is kind of irrelevant because like he's getting the work done, right? Like
Perception is reality. It doesn't matter if it is or it isn't. It looks like it is. It looks good.
yeah, but
His
I mean,
speech
he's
about
doing something, right?
reviving the industrial engine in Ontario and getting manufacturing working back here. Like he has zero power to actually do that, so I don't think he can actually really influence that in any way. But I appreciate the sentiment.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it's like
At
the
least for a good
Buccaneers.
soundbite.
It's like the buck of beer thing, right? Like,
still encourages investment.
He can't go to a company and go, you need to make a beer for $1, but he can give the company the ability to do it. And if someone takes it on, like if you did and then, stopped, then like he tried, he did his best. But like people sometimes I think take it too literally. But like at the very end of the day, whether it's a publicity stunt or not, the guy went out and he got masks made and he delivered them himself, which is a hell of a lot more than any of the other politicians are doing right now.
Yeah.
Right. So like I would like it if more of the conservative politicians, big C conservative politicians, would use these kind of tactics, because they're going to get attacked and they're going to get smeared and they're going to get made fun of regardless. So like at least make the good sound bites and at least make the good photo op.
We'll circle around back to this after this story.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Shall we speak moistly for a moment?
I've been doing that the whole show. I hope everyone out there in podcast land is wearing their face masks.
Moist.
So they don't catch any of my
I will
moist
wet
droplets.
my whistle with more whiskey before we speak moistly.
Moist. Say
Okay,
with
so
me.
I told you I read the Huffington Post earlier,
Is
right?
this where we need
I
to
will
get one of
fight
those?
you.
Get one of those ASM mics or whatever, and you just speak really quietly and do it.
Moistly.
No, you guys
so-
doing it wrong. It's like that guy in Friends. You gotta enunciate and spit and make sure you really project your saliva when you
Moist.
talk.
I don't have a pop filter on this microphone, so we won't be doing that. I told you that I was reading HuffPost. This was the reason why. This is the
Why you
I
got
think-
moist? No.
Well, I feel like there's a pop culture reference in there somewhere, but all right.
That's what she said. I
Trudeau
don't know.
says, speaking moistly during coronavirus update, regrets it immediately. Thank you, Huffington Post, for that headline.
I mean,
such a piece of
I
shit.
will say this, for being like a very left-leaning liberal rag, at least they published a true headline for once.
Yeah.
Because he did regret that immediately.
You could see it at the press conference. So this was what,
As
last.
soon as he said it, he's
last
like, that's
Tuesday?
a terrible mental picture.
Yeah.
So last Tuesday at the time of recording, April the 7th, Trudeau was giving his daily presser where they have 400 journalists crammed into a tent on his front lawn.
Yeah.
It's hyperbole. It's probably not actually 400, but if you look at the photos, like there's a lot of people crammed into a tent.
Yeah, there is no social distancing going on inside that tent.
Definitely over 5.
that. Oh yeah, way over
Probably not
5
the first
and
time.
way less than 6 feet between them.
But again,
Which
it's
I
just
don't
more of the do as we do, or do as we say, not as we do mentality,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and I don't understand.
More
I
on
don't
that
understand
later.
that, right? Because like, what
Yeah.
they need a camera and a microphone, and then just give it to all the broadcasters so they can repeat it.
Yeah.
So why did they need 40 or 400 or however
And
many
they-
reporters
they've
are
been
actually
doing-
there?
They've been doing phone-in questions as well. So like, why can't more people do that?
Why can't everybody do it? I don't understand. Do you not have internet
Yeah.
where you are? You're a fucking reporter. It's 2020.
Yeah.
No. Why do we need them to make the questions for us? Let me write in a question.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Marty,
think
you're not an essential worker. You can't fathom the importance and the gravitas of writing a question for our esteemed leader.
Yeah,
Our moist
instead of
leader?
having these people
You mean our dear
write the
leader.
questions on behalf of Canadians, why not
When I
just
said
let
esteem, I
Canadians
meant-
ask the questions themselves?
Yeah, we've got those red couches that we paid all that money for.
Can
People
we have
that
a
sit
Zoom
down.
than
call
one?
with the
I thought there
PM?
was just
I want
one.
to have a Zoom call with the PM.
Man,
Yes.
watch him
Yes.
dodge every single question for an hour.
So it's like a regular interview,
Exactly.
Yes.
but with us.
Yeah.
I extend this offer presently and immediately. If you or someone you know is in some way able to influence the government, I would like to interview the Prime Minister. Please make my dream a reality.
Yes.
But you'd have to make sure, like, without using the word or can you answer the question in 10 seconds or less?
But what about
Yeah.
You'd need like a Sacha Baron Cohen level of like makeup artistry and like lying
I
to get him
literally
in
just-
the room.
I just want to do a CPP episode with the Prime Minister. I can read the headlines and then be like, so Justin, what do you think of this? I just want to do like a
what were you
normal
thinking on
show
this
with
one?
the PM.
Where's Moistley? Why did Moistley
Moistley?
pop into your head? What were you doing that morning that Moistley came into your head?
So speaking of, I just got an important
Moistley is the
message.
least of my questions.
Yeah. I just got a super important message from the intern. It is now officially the Prime Moister.
Show title.
Prime Oyster. Yeah.
Done.
Did Marty announce that he was having a Caesar in the middle of the show and just write it into the middle of the show notes?
Yes.
He didn't announce it, but he's definitely having one,
Okay,
I'm
I
sure.
thought that's what I scrolled up and I was like, oh, okay, Marty just like randomly wrote that into the middle of something. All right.
No, I randomly just said it when I got back to the mic. So you guys were talking about something else, and I just yelled out Caesar.
Okay, all right.
As one does.
Fucking Leroy Jenkins.
All right, so I would like to know, Marty, what are some of your questions about the moist comment? Because you seem to have actual questions.
No, I don't care about the moist comment. Like, there's just so many other random things that he's done that like make no sense. Like, why was he wearing fake eyebrows that one time?
Yeah.
Was?
Yes.
I didn't see that one.
That was fake news.
I mean, I think nothing of him, but I think even less than nothing of him now.
Is he aware that by wearing a beard he looks more like Fidel Castro?
And
I
what
think that's what he's going
exactly
for.
is his budget yearly for socks?
I want to know
like-
his makeup budget.
Well,
Well, okay,
Probably
so
just
part
steal
I
of,
mean, when
Sophie.
you only buy one color.
part of the makeup thing is like they actually do their makeup so that they can go on TV because of the lighting. So that's like a real thing because television lighting.
Yeah, you don't
But
want to see all that
also,
gross
how much of it
pimples.
does he wear when he's not doing an interview?
All of it.
Depends on how pretty he wants to feel. Well,
Yeah.
Sophie begs him.
He's fabulous all the time, I'm sure.
The thing that I want to know is how does Idris Elba feel about all this?
But she felt
Well,
pretty good.
Yeah, I'm sure he's feeling a lot better now that like he doesn't have the coronas anymore, and his girlfriend doesn't either, and they can go and hang out in Quebec, except this weekend.
Yes.
Although maybe they still are.
Well, I mean,
And he likes
good
watching.
segue.
As
Let's
in,
go to the
JT
Insta
likes
shizzle.
watching.
So this was yesterday on Insta shizzle, Sophie Trudeau's Instagram account. Hello, dear friends. Justin, the kids and I wanted to take a quick moment to send you all of our love and best wishes this long weekend. Even though families across the country are having to get a little creative and celebrate a bit differently this year, we're all in this together. So whether you're able to be with your loved ones or you're staying connected from afar, we're thinking of you and keeping you in our hearts. From our family to yours, happy Easter. Message repeats en français. Bon dimanche, tarte le mode de Justin les enfants, mais so on and so forth.
Tabernacle.
Full colon /
So it seems like everyone had to get creative to spend their Easter, except for them.
Yeah, because
Except for them.
No, they went to the cottage.
Let's count the laws that were slightly fractured there that are currently in place about crossing provincial borders, going to the
Yeah.
cottage,
Yeah.
going to the cottage, congregating, unnecessary travel. That's
Yeah.
see here. Well,
Non-essential
Do you
Sure,
remember
talking
like
more.
3 weeks ago when Sophie had the Rona?
Yeah.
I mean, it
She-
must have set up the ankle monitor too. Just saying.
I'm still not on Ian's tinfoil hat train that he's wearing an ankle monitor.
I mean, I think we're all secretly hoping that it is.
Yeah, I know. It's just hope. That's all it is.
So I guess for listeners that have not seen this, go watch some of the recent press conferences in the last 2 weeks with the Prime Minister. It looks like there are many occasions where he is traveling up and down the steps of his cottage, and there is some sort of a square protrusion on his leg. I am
You know what it
still
is?
not convinced that
like
it's an ankle
connected to the
monitor.
RCMP. It could be like 100 other things.
And
So,
backup piece.
I just had an idea. I think I know what it is. Because
Idris
lately it
Elba.
seems, yes.
Yes.
What do you say?
Lately it seems though that like when he's been speaking during these daily press conferences, he hasn't been umming and erring so much. So maybe it's some sort of a device that like as that feeling to builds, it electric shocks him, so he doesn't.
Or it's probably just feeding him his speech like right to his ear, most likely.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so let's just like quickly, like, to be clear, he is at their cottage in northern Quebec, not at Rideau College.
Yeah.
Cottage, Rideau Cottage.
Yeah,
this is
there's been a lot of comments defending him, being like, no, he always lives at the cottage.
Yeah,
His
different cottage.
His house is called the cottage, and they're like, no. This is a different cottage that he's at.
This is several hundred kilometers away in northern Quebec.
Pretty sure he doesn't live where the moose antlers are.
This is the cottage where the firearms were stolen after being stored unlawfully.
Yeah.
Because, he had some guns stolen from there. So, but didn't face charges for it, of course. But,
Yeah. So not his regular, normal, full-time cottage. His other cottage.
Yeah.
The
one
Some
that
of us can't
Sophie
even
and the
afford
kids
one
have been
cottage.
Yeah.
The ones that Sophie and kids have been at for the last 2 weeks, while he was sitting through weeks 3 and 4 of a 2-week quarantine.
Yeah.
Well, on the upside, this week he did allegedly make an appearance in the house
for 2
So
seconds out of 5 hours.
Well, because he had to drive to Quebec shortly after to go hang out with his wife.
Fishing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad hears that, he will probably.
I think it's actually called cruising, Marty, but fishing works too.
That's the Al Pacino movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, like the whole
Apparently
thing
it's
is
quite
crazy. Like
awkward.
it's more just
It's just more hypocrisy. It's more elitism, and
Of course it is, and that's why I brought it up, because it entertained me when I was scrolling through the Insta-shizzle, and I saw it, and I was like, that's funny. We're telling the city it's from Toronto to stay in fucking Toronto and not go up north to their cottages, but these assholes, they drive to northern Quebec. Stupid fucks.
Yeah.
Because the laws don't apply to them. Quite simply.
But hey, that family that went rollerblading together, they get what was it, $800 fine or something like that?
Yeah, those
$880, and don't forget your victim surcharge.
Yeah,
And
that's
like
like 3
4 of them.
ethics. That's like 3 ethics breaches. $800, right? Like that's
and those fuckers got every penny they deserved. Right?
That's right.
They should know better than to go rollerblading alone in a parking lot. I mean, their lives at risk.
The gall on some people.
But forget the fact that Trudeau has an entourage of a certain size and Sophie has an entourage of a certain size, and now you've got all these people that
it's
are all
about 12
together.
inches, I hear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was Idris
A large
bragging about it or
black
something?
entourage.
Yeah.
Like a four-wheel drive entourage. It's
Was
a
he
big
talking
black
about it, or-
entourage. It's
Yeah.
completely blacked out, tinted
Yeah.
windows,
And if
spinners, the
dark as
whole...
night.
Yeah. But, so you've got all these people that, like, not only can they not spend probably Easter with their families, now have to go and spend Easter at some cottage in Quebec with Trudeau and his wife and kids. Like, just to violate all this nonsense that, we have to follow, but he doesn't. Like, it's garbage.
Different rules for the king, man.
Yeah. Although, everyone is also kind of, I guess, shitting on Scheer for doing similar things with the flight that he took with his family. So
They're all going to the House of Commons. I really like... Yes, it's dumb, and yes, they're not practicing staying out of melee range, but also they're going to have a session in the House, so they're going to, sit in every third seat? Like...
So I say there's a difference between, like, going to do your what has
job.
for some reason been deemed an essential service job versus going out of province to go to your vacation home, of which you specifically have said do not go to your vacation homes.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I know.
Cross provincial lines when you have said don't cross provincial lines, to meet up with a group of people of which you have said don't go meet up with groups of people. There's a difference.
Oh, I agree, but we don't want to be called biased and only reporting one side of it. So, got to report it all, even if it's dumb, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, going to your cottage,
All right.
fucking bonehead move. But
Yeah. I mean, at least people are pretty pissed off.
I think
about it.
posting about going to your cottage is a bonehead move.
yeah,
Yeah. Posting this on Instagram was just, it's out of touch entirely.
Tone
well,
deaf.
yeah. But what do you expect?
I mean, he's been in tone
Did
deaf
they-
for 5 years, but
Did they get their second nanny? I don't remember.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That was
they
a long
have two
time
nannies.
ago.
Yes, they had. I assume they still have 2 nannies, unless one of them caught the Rona and died.
I can report with firsthand knowledge. There's 2 nannies.
Well, I believe that. I was under the impression there was two nannies, and Ian's confirmed there are 2 nannies. Ergo, there are 2 nannies.
You've been,
How many Idris elbows are there?
That was before my time, or that was after my time. Sorry.
Could be both.
Yeah.
Could be both.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess
I mean,
most
they all
people,
look the same.
most people have 2 elbows, so I imagine Sophie's no different.
2 elbows at the same time.
Well, that's why she needs 2 nannies.
That's like 1.5 nannies per kid.
Yeah.
1.6 nannies per kid. There's 3 kids, aren't there?
yes,
I don't know.
1.5 is correct. That
Are you
equals
counting?
3.
Are you counting Justin as a kid?
Well, that's why I'm
True.
like, I wasn't sure what to do with that one because I'm like,
That's a 2
well,
to
he
1.
also requires adult supervision. Somebody probably has to cut the crust off his sandwiches. So
Oh yeah, you got to like blunt his knives and put corks on the end of his fork and stuff
Whoa.
like that.
He
Yeah.
doesn't have a knife. Why would he have a knife? It's
Well,
not
you
real.
dull
estate.
it. You dull it. It's fine.
You get one of
To
those rounded
quote-
end ones. The UK
gets a
style.
spork.
to quote my
Yeah,
2-year-old,
it's a
babies don't get shivs, Daddy.
It's a smart kid right there.
Yeah. Just move them on to the stitches get stitches part later on.
Yeah.
We're working on it. We're working on it. I've been trying to convince him that babies don't get shanks, and we've moved up to babies don't get shivs. So like, this is pretty close.
Yeah. It's a happy medium. Sometimes you got to compromise.
Yeah. TACOM Canada 2020, September 11th to 13th, unless the International Center remains closed, in which case, buy your tickets anyway, I guess. I don't know what they're doing with tickets. But I would like to fund Ian's transit from Vancouver to Mississauga and also beer.
Yes.
So if you buy a ticket through our ticket link in our show notes,
We're thirsty.
we get $1. And I would like getting $1. So please give me $1 fucking dollar.
Yeah.
It's the Ragnarok crew. We like beer, so lots
Yeah.
of beer.
Let's do the thing where we go around. Gavin, where can people find you on the internet?
Instagram, Urbix_GTA, or standing in line at the local grocery store every few days.
Waiting for your bread, sack
Yeah.
of potatoes.
Yeah.
Like a good pro.
If I'm lucky. Don't always get
Ian?
bread.
Ian, where can everybody find you?
You can reach me at theislandretreat@gmail.com. You can also find me jabbering away on the other CPP, which is a Canadian Prepper podcast, Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. This coming up Sunday is the Lockdown Cuisine episode, where we're going to talk about what we're doing with our home, like prepared food or stored food for I guess, unusual dietary stuff during the lockdown.
I'm just letting you know now. I know like 6 different ways to prepare a squirrel. Good eating. Little nutty. Good eating.
Let's talk about it.
Dave, where can everybody find you on the internet?
Find me at the IGs at Diesel6223. And eventually, once we can start doing some long range shooting again, when the bases open up, email me at oraprecision@gmail.com. Come up for some long distance shooting. And yeah, soon, hopefully.
Marty, skill testing question. Where can everyone find the show?
CanadianPatriotPodcast.com/feedback or email us at feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com.
Fucking nailed it. Good job.
Is there an HTTP in front of that?
Oh, fuck off.
There is not. There's not. This one is just the wwws.
The wwws. All right.
That's one of those wrestling things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 316, Steve Austin.
That's
Yeah.
right. There we go.
Yeah.
Little callback to earlier. Dougie 316. I'm gonna have to look up what that passage is later, so I know what the joke is. Benny, where can everybody find you on the internet?
You can find me at bennylewis.ca. We hope to add very, very soon Decibels, which are at-home custom-made earplugs, ear protection. So, yeah, look us up.
Huh?
Really?
Is-
Nothing?
No, I
Yeah.
was interning. Is the 316 thing John 316, like as in the
Yeah.
Bible?
Yeah, God gave his only given son or whatever it was. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, that seems appropriate given that it's Easter. So, all right, for all of our listeners out there in podcast land, remember that Rod Giltaca loved the world so much that he gave his one and only son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life.
Is that what it is?
give or take.
Paraphrasing.
Yeah.
Rod wasn't in the original mention.
Yeah.
It sounds better this way.
Yeah.